Next time on Casino Royale with cheese.
So a black garden ant can live up to 15 years.
15 years?
Yes.
What the fuck? I just kind of figured, because I know that flies don't live long at all. And so...
No, I think they have like a 48-hour lifespan.
I at most, maybe 3-4 days, tops, yeah. That's the thing, is whenever I get a fly in the car, I'm like, I ain't really worried about it, because in a couple of days, he's not going to bother me anymore anyway.
He's going to be dead on my dashboard in a couple days. Yeah.
And then I'll know exactly where he is.
They always die on the dashboard.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to get out. Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
I assume. Yeah. Oh, God, I'm dying. I just want to see my family one last time.
Oh, the horror.
All right, tell the maggots I love them.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent Green is people!
Yo, Adrian! I did it! Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at them regular casinos.
Royale, too.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
Welcome back to Casino Royale with Cheese. This is the internet show where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. This is episode number 46. And my name is Shane. Today I'm joined by the man who is bred out of the cliffs of insanity. This is Mike.
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. How's it going?
Fucking hung over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ain't no party like a Mike party.
So, we talked about on other previous episodes, like how much we've been partying on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, people don't know, but I'm like a daily drinker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so this week I decided, like, that's old news and I don't want to do that anymore. So I've been sober all week. Not a drop of alcohol.
It's pretty good.
But last night was the ball at my unit.
Oh, no.
And we went hard. We went real hard. And this is the first legit hangover I've had in a really long time.
Really?
And I'm thought to myself, like, is this what normal people feel like?
That's what I feel like. I feel terrible after that.
I was like 3 beers into the night, and I was like, oh, I'm already getting drunk. Like, this is weird.
Mm-hmm. That's typically what I do is if I'm, wanting to feel like loosened up, have a good time, whatever, then I'll go through and knock out like 3 or 4 beers like quick, so that I'm just feeling it. And then like after that, I'm pretty loose, get my social lubricant going, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but were you like pounding them or?
Well, after the beer, I went to liquor.
Oh yeah, that was a mistake.
Oh, I mean, maybe in your opinion, I had a blast.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, that's the repercussions today, but I had a blast then.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, my friend, yesterday our boys won insanely.
Hell yeah, they did.
Yeah.
We're going to the motherfucking college football playoff.
I was pretty excited. A lot of people were like, well, I'm surprised they won that. Really? I wasn't that surprised, OU beat Texas. Obviously,
I told
if you don't know
everybody
what we're talking about.
I told everybody they were going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, our defense has been better, since we lost to Texas, so
they looked really good yesterday.
Yeah, that's better than it has been in years,
Yeah,
probably close to a decade.
Yeah, you're not far off. It's the best I've seen in a real long time.
Yeah, of course the offense is always on point, so
Yeah, best offense in the country, motherfuckers.
I tend to agree with that.
But you don't have to agree. The stats say it.
Yeah. So, what was it? Last week we talked about A Bug's Life.
We did.
We did. And you had a pick of the movie that you wanted to do.
Yeah, it came to us kind of organically.
Yeah, we just kind of stumbled upon it, So, why don't you tell us about it there, big fella?
We had the opportunity this week to watch The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride, indeed.
With Jenna.
Jenna, yeah. I'd forgotten that Robin Wright, not Penn at the time, was in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Needless to say, I like her character in this way more than I like Jenna. So that's something, I guess.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She's not a big whore in this one. So, one of those things. Like, she actually does, like, she and her boyfriend part ways, and she winds up getting with somebody else. But she's very much not a willing participant in this relationship. She even tells the guy, like, I don't love you. I don't want anything to do with you, really. He's like, maybe you will.
Spoiler alert.
Right. So, it also features Carrie Elways, which was kind of funny because I remember he was Wesley.
Oh, okay, the leading guy.
Yeah. What's funny about it is I saw him in this, and I had also seen him in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Men in Tights.
Yes. And I was sitting back and I was thinking, like, well, like I saw the movie Saw.
Oh, right.
That also had him. And I was like, well, that's not very funny at all,
No, not a comedy.
No, it's not. We got Mandy Patinkin, plays Inigo Montoya.
Inigo.
Yeah. Chris Sarandon plays Prince Humperdinck. So there's that.
Is he related to Susan Sarandon?
I don't know, man. Maybe. I guess I could look.
Nah, you don't worry about it.
Yeah, who cares? If you guys want to know, you can look it up. We got Christopher Guest, plays Count Rugen. One of my favorites is Wallace Shawn, plays Vizzini.
Oh, he's your favorite?
I love Wallace Shawn, man. Especially as Rex in Toy Story.
I like him as Rex.
Yeah. One of the earlier movies I remember seeing him in was in Clueless. He plays her teacher in that. Or they're like trying to fix him up with the other teacher or whatever, because he's a dickhead. And it has Andre the Giant in this movie, who we discussed last week.
That's why we picked the movie.
Yup. We stumbled upon that one. So this movie has Fred Savage in it, right?
A little baby boy.
A little baby Fred Savage. I was thinking about a couple different things with him. First of all, the first thing I was thinking of was, why did he never play Russ Griswold in the Vacation movies? Because I think
too much.
That's the only thing I could think of. Is the price tag on that dude was probably pretty high back in the day. The other thing I was thinking of is this guy probably got laid at the age of 8 years old more than I ever have in my entire life.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But he was a big deal back in the day,
His sister is Susan Sarandon, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So at least we got Mike looking that up. Awesome. Only other...
It says his spouse is Susan Sarandon.
Well, she's with Tim Robbins.
Yeah, I know.
Did they get divorced, maybe?
I don't know. I can't figure out anything.
Yeah, Mike's brain is mush at this point.
It is. Definitely mush. Oh, they were definitely together. I see a picture of them right here together.
Were they doing it in that picture?
They're holding hands.
Oh, okay. That's cool, I guess. We got Billy Crystal in this movie.
Yeah, we do.
Briefly, for like 5 minutes tops.
Kills it.
Yeah, so a lot of people, there's a bit of trivia on IMDb because this movie was directed by Meathead himself, Rob Reiner. And it was one of those, they said that like Rob Reiner had to leave the set whenever Billy Crystal was there because he would like laugh hysterically. And I was like, he's not that funny in this. Like, I've seen him be funnier,
It is funny though.
It's amusing, definitely. The only other person I could think of that maybe got laid more than Fred Savage was Peter Falk back in the day. You know,
Peter Falk.
Yeah, he's the grandfather, but he was also
God.
Columbo.
Columbo, yeah.
And I like to think of Columbo just like,
As a total puss hound?
oh man, just getting vagina thrown at him, dude.
That wasn't happening, I promise you.
No, he was married in the show, you know. So
I promise you he was not getting it thrown at him in real life or in fiction or anything else.
I just like to think of it like as like hot dogs and cigars are like his fuck fuel, you know.
Oh, God.
Now I need you to investigate the inside of this raincoat, you know.
That's hilarious.
Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna fuck you 6 ways from Sunday, and then I'm gonna go get a hot dog. Let's see. Oh, I just found this out. Apparently, Peter Falk has like a missing right eye.
This
That's
right eye's
crazy.
fake?
Yeah, it's like a glass eye, I guess.
Wow.
Apparently, he got cancer in his right eye when he was a kid. They had to
What?
take it out. Yeah, crazy.
Had a whole career with a glass eye, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts. And apparently there's an amusing antidote on IMDb, or anecdote, I guess, not antidote. Wesley's the one getting the antidote in this. But the anecdote states that Peter Falk apparently at one point was playing baseball and the umpire was calling really crappy calls. And he went up to the umpire, popped his eye out and said, "Here, you need this more than I do." He told him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the fucking move right there, man.
I hope that's true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a badass move. We got Carol Kane in this movie. Mm-hmm. She plays Valerie, but I always think of her as the witch, or the ghost of Christmas Present in the movie Scrooged. She just keeps kicking the shit out of Bill Murray, that whole movie. So, yeah.
She's the wife of the magician miracle worker.
Yeah,
Billy
Miracle
Crystal.
Max. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As I said, directed by Rob Reiner. He had a long history of doing a lot of movies. You know, we've discussed some of them, but amongst them are, you know, Stand By Me.
Great.
Yeah, various things. He also famously did the movie North, which featured Elijah Wood. And if you ever get a chance, listen to the Roger Ebert critique of the movie North, because you're thinking to yourself, like, it's just this crappy 90s kids, you know, comedy, kid power sort of thing. But Roger Ebert said that of all the movies that he's watched, that one is the one that he has despised the most. And I was
Really?
like, really? Yeah.
Now I
He
have to
said
watch
he
North.
hated it. Yeah. We have to watch North for this, so
Yeah. Oh, we do?
I'm sure we got to at some point, you know. So
Okay.
released September 25th, 1987.
Oh.
So there's that. Any guesses as to the numbers on this thing?
I have no idea.
Yeah, no idea. Well, it was made on, first of all, a budget of $16 million.
Oh, they did great.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You know, considering that they had to, you know, do like a period piece, you know, from back in the day. And there's some boats and shit on here, you know, stuff like that. It's pretty good.
They got Andre the Giant.
And Billy Crystal. And Kevin Savage. So...
Well, Kevin Savage.
Or Fred Savage, I mean. I was thinking Kevin from the stupid Wonder Years thing.
Oh.
Yeah. But
Yeah, well, Billy Crystal was only in it for about 5 minutes.
he was, but he was a decent name though at the time, you know.
Yeah. And then Carol Kane she was kind of a big deal at the time.
Right, she was. Let's see. I don't think like Wallace Shawn or any of those. This is like Robin Wright's first movie ever, so she wasn't
looks
like a big
very
name.
young.
She does look young, but she's aged really well too, I think.
No, she's still fantastic. But,
Yeah, lovely.
In this movie, she looks very like almost childish.
She does.
In appearance.
Not childish, but yeah, very childlike appearance, we'll say. Yeah. So yeah. There's some other people in this, but who really gives a shit? Overall, you said you have no idea how well this thing fared box office wise. Unfortunately for this movie, it's only in recent years become like a big deal. It actually, I think, was a bit of a flop at the time. It brought in $30 million $857,000.
I mean, it makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see where, like, at the time in 1987, that this would be a flop.
People just weren't ready for it, man. You know?
Well, I don't think they got it.
Right. And I will say, too, it is kind of nice to sit back, me and you, especially after we've done, some different stuff like Pleasantville and stuff like that, to sit back and have sort of a lighthearted, movie to sit back and just, bullshit about. Because, this is definitely, I mean, it's not like a straight comedy. It's definitely got its adventure and romance and stuff like that. But it's a pretty lighthearted romp, all in all.
Oh, yeah.
So. I will say that I do think that this movie is overrated, unfortunately, because it is in the IMDb top 250 movies of all time, number 212. And I was like, it's good, but is it that fucking good? Come on, one of those deals. But
well, I don't know. Why don't you summarize this movie for us, and then we'll talk about what we like and didn't like and
okay,
all that stuff.
Well, the long story short of it is the movie itself. There's Fred Savage. He's a kid. He's stuck at home. He's sick. Whatever.
He's a widow boy playing Atari.
Right. I couldn't tell what it was he was playing, honestly, because at this point the Nintendo was already out, but the graphics compared to the Nintendo look kind of shit of whatever it was he was playing. Some kind of baseball game.
Yeah.
And he had this really gnarly looking fucking joystick that he was using. It looked like something that you would have seen in the 90s for like Microsoft Flight Simulator or some craziness, So
well,
I have
a joystick with like a grip on it.
Yeah, it looked pretty gnarly, man.
It just had like the red button on the top though, just like.
Oh. So
like
maybe
Atari.
he got like some kind of peripheral add-on bullshit for his fucking Atari 2600 or something.
Yeah.
Could be. Anyway, his grandpa comes over to read him this story that he used to read to the kid's dad whenever he was sick, and his dad used to read to him. And it's the book, The Princess Bride. And essentially, it's about the kid. He doesn't want to hear this shit anyway. He's not interested in the book. Yeah, fucking who cares? I got a shiny new Atari over there with brand new wood grain on it that I could be playing right now,
Yep.
And so, anyway, starts reading this story to the kid. The kid's reluctant, but whatever. But the book essentially is about this dude. He's a farm boy, and there's this woman named Buttercup. The farm boy's name is Wesley. They got a thing for each other. She kind of treats him like shit, but he loves her anyway. And then eventually he winds up leaving.
As you wish.
As you wish. He always says to her. And at one point, I guess, as he said, as you wish, from the tone of his voice, she took that to be like, I love you, And so anyway, he winds up going through, he leaves the farm and sets out to make a fortune so that he can bring the money back and marry this girl. She gets word that he died from this guy, the Dread Pirate Roberts, I think they call it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so anyway, later on, she goes off and she gets engaged to this prince. And then sure enough, we don't find out immediately, but Wesley reemerges basically to rescue her from the clutches of this prince who she has instructed him that she does not love, but she's going to marry him anyway, because fuck it. And of course, in the meantime, the prince has this whole scheme. They never say why, but he wants to pit this country that he's in, Florin. He wants to start a war with this other country, Gilder, and he wants to kill her and make it look like there were spies from this other country that are responsible. And so that essentially is the gist of it.
Right.
Yeah. I probably left some stuff out, but if you look and you have HBO, then it's on HBO Go right now, so you can get the big details of it from there. Overall, I don't know. What did you think about this movie overall, would you say, Mike?
I really like this movie.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a real lighthearted romp. I guess now that I watched it a bunch of times when I was a kid.
Yep.
But it's been several years since the last time I saw it. And as an adult, I'm able to really appreciate the tongue-in-cheek nature of the film.
Right.
You know, when I was a kid, it was just cheesy.
Yeah.
It was fun, but cheesy.
They were being intentionally cheesy, though, with this, which I like. Yeah.
But I didn't get that when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
But now I totally see that it was all, like, fun and in jest, you know? So
Right.
I had a really good time watching it.
Well, one thing that I like about it is because the way that it's posed to you is that it's this grandpa and he's reading this book to his grandson. We never find out either one of their names, by the way.
I like how the grandson keeps like interrupting his granddad throughout the story.
Yeah. It's pretty great. Because over time, the grandson is more and more noticeably getting interested in the story, you know. But with it being under the guise that this is, you know, just the cheesy adventure novel, they're able to play up the typical tropes that you would see in a novel like this. A good example of that, I think, is whenever Wesley... So Buttercup winds up getting captured by these 3 bandits. And
a great trio, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where you get your Sean Wallace and your Inigo Montoya, and you first introduced to
Andre the Giant, man,
Yeah.
the Colossus.
Right.
So awesome.
Oh, yeah. But what I like about it, though, is they wind up climbing up these cliffs of insanity, which they never say why they call it that anyway. But they wind up cutting the rope, and then you got him stuck on the side of this cliff. Wesley's chasing after him to rescue her. And they're like, you need help getting up here? Because Inigo Montoya is supposed to kill him when he emerges, you know. And, you know, just the whole thing of him, you know, trying to, he's like, you want me to help you? Like, I got more rope up here, you know, I could throw down to you. That sort of thing, you know. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I love the scene between Inigo and Wesley, the sword fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, really good. The sword fighting's pretty good.
It is.
Their dialogue back and forth, it's like real complimentary towards each other.
It is. Inigo
As they're trying
Montoya
to-
respects him because he's a good swordsman, you know.
Yeah, but like they're trying to kill each other, but yet they're still like, you know, giving each other like, compliments and stuff.
Right, right.
It's really funny.
One thing that I think does kind of work against itself in this scene, though, is, you know, you get these 2 guys that are supposed to be sword fighting to the death or whatever. At least Inigo Montoya is. But whenever they're sitting there talking, I almost feel like it deflates the tension out of it. But I don't. You can make the argument, too, that it's not supposed to be a terribly tense scene either. It's just supposed to be a lighthearted romp, you know, once again. So,
Yeah, I don't think they intended to have any tension to it.
Right. I will go on record, though, and say that, in my opinion, Inigo Montoya is my favorite character in this movie.
Me too.
Hands down.
Me too.
Fucking great.
Well, he's the only one that has like a real character arc.
Right. The one with any kind of depth to it, yeah. I mean, you could make the argument that Wesley, you know, he's trying to save this girl that he loves, whatever. But Inigo Montoya is the one that he has this really long, ongoing 20-year, you know, journey that he's been experiencing, you know, which is
to
great.
find the man with the 6 fingers on his right hand.
Apparently that guy killed his dad. And so
Right.
for the last 20 years, he's been training his ass off at sword fighting. So whenever he catches this dude, he can, you know, deal out his vengeance toward him, you know.
You can kill him.
Yeah. It's great. I do like the whole bit where they're fighting with their left hands. And Inigo Montoya is like, I got a surprise for you, though. I'm right-handed. And then you see Wesley, and he's like, oh, well, I'm right-handed, too, you know. And so you're like, fuck. That's it,
I know
man.
something you do not know.
Right.
I am right-handed.
Right. It's great.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
good.
it.
I love Andre in this movie.
Andre the Giant. He is great, man.
Apparently, he was like shit-faced most of the time during filming. That's
Yeah.
the story I hear.
I could believe that. I don't think his acting is particularly great in this movie,
Oh, it's not.
but he's
just
so
Andre
entertaining
playing
to
Andre.
watch. Yeah, exactly. He's just a charismatic dude, you know. You can't help but like the guy, you know, so.
Apparently, he was like that in real life as well. A real jovial, like lighthearted, fun guy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I was reading a bit of trivia on IMDb, actually, which I found interesting because he went on and he was in some other stuff, not just this. But let me find that bit of trivia here. And
He's
once
a freak
again,
of nature.
oh yeah, he had some kind of disease that caused him to,
It's called gigantism.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
Fair
killed
enough.
him.
Yeah.
His heart kept growing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that people with disorders like that typically have some pretty major health issues. Let's see. I guess I can't really find it. However, so the deal is I guess Andre the Giant went through and he said that this was like one of his favorite roles that he ever played. Just because people didn't treat him like he was different or, anything like that or any kind of physical disorder or anything like that. Everybody just was like treated him like a regular dude, and he really appreciated that because it was didn't happen very often, So,
He got fucked with everywhere he went.
Oh, really? I can imagine people just try to like walk up and punch him and shit. It's just.
If you want to know more about Andre and his life experience, so there's a documentary on HBO. About
You mentioned
Andre the
that.
Giant.
Yep.
And or you can listen to the podcast Joe Rogan had with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And he really talks about Andre a lot. I guess they were pretty close.
I see.
He tells the tale of one time, like, they were in a bar, and these, like, frat boys were throwing empty beer cans at Andre, like, from behind.
That's nice.
And to the point where he got pissed off.
Wrong dude to piss off.
Yeah, they ran outside away from him, and he walked out there and flipped their car over by himself. Yeah.
Wow.
And when the cops came over to find out what happened, they arrested the teenage kids
Nice.
for harassment.
Yeah. No, and that's the sort of thing too, you look at, that's how Houdini died basically, was people, were being stupid and took it too far, that sort of thing. So I don't know, man. One thing I do like in this movie is, whenever they go to the, what is it here? They go to the fire swamp. I thought that was pretty neat. I especially like the rodents of unusual size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big ass rats.
And they call it by an acronym originally. They're like, what are we going to do about the ROUSs? You're like, huh? And then he's like, rodents of unusual size?
Oh, is that what she said to him?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But from what I could tell, I was actually kind of surprised. I don't know, I guess really how they did. I would assume it was somebody in a suit, but
Definitely someone in a suit.
But it almost didn't look like. I guess maybe it was just a little person,
No, it was a full size person.
Really?
Yeah, it was like someone my size in that suit.
Wow. Yeah, I was just surprised at how well that turned out, man. It was a pretty good little effect,
If you look at the fight with him and Wesley and the giant rat, you get a chance to really see like how big this thing is, and it's as long as he is.
Oh, okay. I got you. Not including the tail and all that.
Right.
I see.
But all the practical effects in this movie are really good.
Yeah, they held up pretty well. And that's another thing that you were saying as far as the budget goes. This movie looks pretty good, for 16 mil. It's not bad at all.
The only time it's a little cheesy is like the background.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sometimes you can see that's like painted, it's not like a real thing.
Like a matte painting. I even noticed whenever Inigo Montoya and Wesley were fighting on top of the cliff, there was at one point, I couldn't tell if it was maybe a green screen, like just a bad composite shot, or maybe they were standing in front of a matte painting, but it looked kind of wonky. But, it is what it is,
Yeah.
This is, really before, computer stuff, CGI was not even a possibility at this point, really. So you just did what you could do pretty much.
There's some things in this film that like really stuck with me through childhood and into today. Like inconceivable.
Inconceivable. That word. What is it he says to him? I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah. You keep saying that. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Right. One thing that kind of stuck with me when I was watching it, so they go through this whole thing with the fire swamp. There's 3 trials. They're trying to get away from this Prince Humperdinck that's trying to follow him and get a hold of Princess Buttercup.
The human embodiment of Princess Farquaad, or Prince Farquaad.
It really is. Yeah, this guy's kind of a turd, you know.
I really think Farquaad is based off of Humperdinck.
Based off of him.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to Farquaad, there's maybe some Napoleonic stuff as far as his height and things of that nature go.
Well, there definitely is that.
Yeah, but yeah, this is definitely they have certain characteristics they share. You know, we'll say that. So, one thing that I find interesting though, so they go through these fire swamps, and there's 3 major safety concerns, we'll say, whenever they're going in there. And the first one, the fire, obviously. There's these big sinkholes.
The best quicksand effect I've ever seen in a film.
So I'll give you that.
It's my favorite, if not the best.
Right. Well, there's one that stood out from when I was a kid. There's a remake of this movie that came out in the 50s. And it's really a garbage movie, but I still kind of like it just for nostalgia factor. But it's this movie called Invaders from Mars. And the whole idea of this movie is there's this kid and he's lying in bed one night. And so sure enough, he looks out his window and there's this alien craft that like lands behind his house. You know, there's this kind of like a berm or a hill, if you will, behind his house. And so his dad goes out the next morning to check it out after the kid tells him about it. He's like, I didn't see anything out there. Well, there's this giant sand, bar that's out there behind the house. And whenever they would go out onto the sand, sure enough, they would get sucked down into the ground by this UFO, anytime anything went out there. And so that one kind of stood out to me because I was like terrified of that when I was a kid. Like, I ain't fucking with that sand, I was a little bitty dude, like 3 or 4 years old. And I was like, no, sir. So but no, this is definitely, and they hold the shot long enough in this movie because Wesley goes in after Buttercup gets sucked down into this thing. And he cuts this vine. He jumps down in there. And sure enough, they wait just long enough so that they build suspense. You obviously know they're going to make it. But I would say the amount of time they allow to lapse from the time he jumps in there to the time he climbs out is perfect,
Mm-hmm. I just like how you immediately sink.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like it.
It's like jumping into a hole more than it is like a quicksand pit.
Right. Something like instead of like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Right.
Some shit like that. That was an awful movie. And then, of course, we have the rodents of unusual size. But the issue I run into, so they're able to overcome all 3 of these obstacles. And then whenever they come out of this fire swamp, sure enough, Prince Humperdinck's there. And I was like, did he go around or what?
He must have, yeah.
Why didn't they do that?
Well, because they went into the fire swamp to get away from him.
Yeah, I guess that's a valid point.
They should have stayed there.
Well, yeah. They very well could have, yeah. So, I don't know. Basically, at one point they do a fake out in this movie where you actually think that she's gone through and gotten married already. And you're like, fuck, dude. This shit went toes up fast, But it's just a dream. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's that, I guess.
In Dango Montoya, his character, he says the line several times throughout the film. My name is Dango Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Prepare to die. Yeah.
And I remember saying that shit so many times when I was a kid, man.
I like where he first meets Wesley. They're at the top of that cliff. And he just real casually asked him, he's like, you don't happen to have 6 fingers on your right hand, do you? And he's like, no. Why?
Yeah.
Just real casual, nonchalant, Let's see here. At one point she finds out. Well, let's talk about this machine that they use on Wesley. Because that was kind of weird.
Located in the Pit of Despair.
The Pit of Despair. That's hidden in this fucking Beverly Hills Cop 3 tree out in the middle of this fucking, forest.
Yeah.
Because at first I was thinking like a pit, this thing's probably like a gorge or something. But no, it's really more like an underground dungeon.
It's a
type of
dungeon,
thing. Yeah.
I hate the albino in there.
Really?
Yeah, he's so gross.
He's pretty nasty, dude. They never say his name either. They just
He's
call
the
him
albino.
Yep, that's it. For some reason or another, I was thinking that he would be funnier, but he really wasn't.
He didn't do a whole lot.
No, the only thing that I did think was funny is whenever he first shows up in the pit, and he's all got that growly voice, you're stuck in the pit, and then he like clears his throat and he has a regular voice. That's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But they hook Wesley. They wind up capturing Wesley. And at one point, they hook him up to this machine that sucks your life away.
They said.
It's pretty weird, man. Because it's all working on, like, water flow and all this other stuff. They got, like, this water wheel hooked up to it, and pretty different, But I don't know, man. I thought that was pretty strange.
Yeah, it was an odd little device, but it is what it is.
The thing that I thought was crazy about it, so they go through this guy. Wesley finds out that there's this guy, the Count, that he's the one that has 6 fingers on his right hand, So that's the dude that Montoya's looking for. And he's the one that's using this machine on Wesley.
He designed it and built it and all that other stuff.
But he uses it on Wesley, and he's like, I've just sucked away 1 year of your life. And I was like, thinking to myself, like, that's not that bad. that's like the last year of your natural life. That's probably one of the crappier years of your existence,
If you die of natural causes, yeah.
Yeah. So, you're peeing on yourself, can't remember shit, Who wants that? And then we get to the part where basically Prince Humperdinck thinks that he's bullshit and sucks away the entire rest of his life,
Like 50 years or something. Like
right.
That.
Yeah.
He becomes mostly dead.
Mostly dead. Yeah. And then, of course, they take him to Miracle Max, which is Billy Crystal, as we mentioned. And why don't you tell us about that scene?
It's just really funny. Miracle Max is very reluctant to taking care of this because he's lost all of his confidence since the Prince Humperdinck has fired him.
Right.
But he like pumps air into Wesley.
Right.
And he pushes on him. He's like, "Tell me why you should live." And he says, "True love."
Right.
And he tries to say he didn't say true love.
Right. Because he doesn't want to do anything to help him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do anything. The wife gets pissed off and like starts smacking him around and stuff. It's Carol Kane. She's really funny.
I like when the wife comes out, he's like, "Oh no, it's a witch." No, I'm not. I'm your wife. Yeah, it was pretty amusing. What I was thinking too, so they've established this timetable where it's 10 days until they get married. And then on that day is whenever Wesley gets captured. And so, sure enough, like 10 days later, and he's still strapped to this machine. Like, man, he's having a crappy week and a half,
Yeah.
Just a bad deal. But, yeah, that's whenever Montoya and Fezzik go through and they rescue him and he gets brought back to life, whatever. We get this funny little bit where he, like, they bring him back to life, but he can't, like, move any of his extremities,
Yeah, he's at Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, it really is a Weekend at Bernie's moment, yeah. But, I don't know. I guess there's some stuff in here that I like. Would you say that this is top 250 IMDb related, like, in that category there, Mike? Or
I mean, I'll put it in my top 250, sure.
Really?
Yeah,
All
why
right.
not?
Fair enough.
I mean, 250? That's a lot of fucking movies.
I mean, that is a lot of movies. There's a lot of stuff on there that I haven't seen, too, on that 250. I'll go through every so often just to look on there and be like, nope. Like, at one point, I actually had the goal of going through and watching, all the movies that were on the top 250.
What?
And, yeah, I just wanted to see if they were that good,
Dude, that would take forever.
It would take a long time, brother. Long time. But, meh.
I'll tell you one character from this movie that doesn't get enough credit. It's the priest at the end.
Marriage, yeah.
Yeah, he is fucking hilarious.
He is quite funny. We get to the whole wedding scene, and it's kind of just one ongoing trope, where, you know, the guy's like, speed it up, you know, and all that. But the priest is pretty funny throughout, I will say. I do like, because they actually go through and supposedly complete the wedding. We find out that there's been a bit of a technicality, but
she never said I do.
Right, because, you know, Humperdinck was trying to fast forward, pass through all that shit, and never actually got the I do from her. So she goes through and tells Prince Humperdinck's parents, you know, like the mom and the dad, she's like, thank you guys for being so nice to me and all that. And she's like, I'm probably not going to see you again. And the dad's like, well, why is that? You know, and she's like, because tonight I plan on killing myself, you know, because they established early on she'd rather kill herself than marry Humperdinck, you know. And so anyway, fucking the next thing you know is the king's like, oh, well, that's nice, you know. And he's like, hey, she kissed me, you know, that sort of thing. It's pretty amusing. I like it. Let's see here. I was thinking about something else too. Let me ask you, why is it that she ever agreed to marry this dude in the first place?
I have no idea. They don't explain that. They don't show us how she ended up with him.
Right.
Nothing. The only thing I could guess is that he was like, I want the fairest lady in the land.
Right. And maybe it's a money thing or something.
I don't know. For her?
Well, I was thinking maybe for like her family or something like that.
They never even showed that she had any family.
Well, she lived on that farm, I assume. You know,
we
she
never
didn't
saw
run the
Ma
shit.
and Pa.
We never did, no. That's what I find interesting, though, is even if it was like, hey, I got mom and dad back at home, and, you know, this will be I'm hooking them up with some cash, whatever. You know, there's never a scenario where, I mean, obviously if she would rather kill herself than go through with this, she probably wouldn't do that, even for monetary gain, you know. So, I don't know. Pretty weird. We see where I think it's weird because this movie just kind of ends, man.
Yeah, I guess it does.
I was sitting back and like watching this, and I was like, "Damn, we're getting like runtime wise getting close to the end here," and it just does that. Humperdinck never really gets his comeuppance, I don't think.
No, they just tie him up.
Yeah, they tie him up in a chair and then escape from the castle. You know, they could have easily gone through if they wanted to make a quick buck. You know, of course, this thing flopped, you know, so they wouldn't have done a sequel to it, I don't think, anyway. But once it had gained some popularity on VHS or whatever, I think if they had gone through and they could have easily done a sequel to it, you know. The grandson's sick again. Grandpa comes over, and sure enough, Humperdinck's trying to hunt him down again, you know.
Yeah. I think it's funny that this is actually a book.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that I think is unique about that, now that you mention it, is so the book itself, you know, obviously in the book it doesn't feature the grandpa and the grandson. And so this is actually, you know, taking like a real slice of life, you know, like you're actually watching somebody read this book, you know, that this is based on to their grandson. So, you know, I don't know. I found it interesting enough.
I wonder what the read's like, you know?
Oh, I have no idea. That's a good question there.
Like, do you think the writer intentionally wrote this, like, cheesy, tongue-in-cheek romance?
It could be. I know what's interesting, too, is...
Or did he write a serious story, and Rob Reiner and his crew decided it'd be funnier to tell it this way?
That's the question right there. I think that the author... I might be wrong about this. I'll have to look it up real quick. But I believe that the author actually wrote the script for this.
He was definitely involved in it. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, William Goldman wrote the book and the screenplay. So he was... he had a hand in it. So... Even later on, if he came up, he couldn't be like, yo, I don't like the way you guys did that at all, you know. Tough titty, dude, you wrote it, you know.
Well, if I wrote a book and I thought it was a serious novel, let's say,
Right.
and then somebody with a whole lot of money came up to me and was like, "We're gonna buy your book, and we want to make it a comedy," I'd say, "Okay."
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Godspeed, sir. I do think that it's interesting because Rob Reiner, when he did Stand By Me, apparently he went through, there's a bunch of stuff that he had included or excluded from the original Stephen King book that wasn't in there. But Stephen King actually said that he was really pleased, though, because he said that the overall like tone, he like nailed it, you know. And
Stand
so-
By Me is a classic.
You know, it's funny. I hadn't seen that movie until maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
What?
And yeah, it was one that I'd always heard about.
You had a
And,
terrible childhood.
I guess so, man. We're going to have to talk about that later, too, later in the recording here, because I got some stuff to discuss about that. But,
Your childhood?
well, kind of in a roundabout sort of way.
Okay.
Just more of a question than anything.
okay.
But what were we even talking about? Oh, the Stand By Me. I just saw it. But yeah, I watched that movie not long ago, and I was just amazed at how good that was, man. Because the whole idea of these kids going out to find a dead body didn't really necessarily appeal to me. But it's more about the voyage than it is the destination, in that movie.
100%.
Yeah.
It's about growing up.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. How well do you think that one holds up? We've talked about it before, but The Sandlot, like if you paired them up side by side, they're both kind of coming of age sort of stories.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Do you think which one would you think is a better movie?
Oh, Stand By Me, I think.
I'd have to agree.
I like The Sandlot a lot.
It's
but
great. Yeah.
I think Stand By Me is a better film.
Right. Let's see. Oh, another thing I noticed that I made a note of here was on the grandson, whenever the grandpa's first like reading a story to him or whatever, they show the headboard of his bed. And, keep in mind, this is back in the 80s. So like a headboard of a bed could encapsulate many things. A kid's might have shelves on it and shit. So that, you got shit piled up on there, toys and whatnot. And so on it, there was a cup that he had. And it was a Burger King cup, and it was from the 1980 that year, and it was a promotional cup that Burger King had put out from The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah?
And I actually have that cup, so I saw that and was like, "Oh shit!"
Wow.
I was pretty excited about it. But
Very cool.
Yeah, Mike cares.
You have the same cup as the movie.
Right.
Well, if you really pay attention to what's behind him with his toys and stuff there,
Yeah.
you'll see a bag of Cheetos. I definitely ate Cheetos back then.
Whoa. Fucking Cheetos, man.
Yeah.
I wrote down, there's an interesting line because whenever Wesley tells her that she's leaving to go, make some money, come back and marry her ass. Sure enough, she's like, "Well, what if you never come back for me?" And he says, "I will always come back for you, or I will always come for you." I was like, "Well, she's Robin Wright. I mean, can't blame the dude there." I'd come for Robin Wright. So, but true love, yeah. Let's see here. What else do we have? I think that the dynamic between Vizzini and Montoya and Fezzik is kind of an interesting one because neither of them like Vizzini at all as far as the three robbers go. They always talk shit and they're like, I don't really care about that dude. They're like, basically, I'm just here to make a quick buck, that sort of thing. So, interesting enough, I guess.
The dynamic between the three of them is really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love how, like, Vizzini's, like, chewing out Andre the Giant.
Oh, yeah. I like that one deal where he basically tells him, he's like, "All right, you're going to do this your way now." And he's like, "You're going to go up behind him with a big rock and just smack him in the head." And he's like, "My way's not very honorable,
My way is more honorable.
Right. Where was his country of origin? I'm wondering.
Andre the Giant?
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's a good
I'm
question.
looking that up right now because he had some kind of weird accent that I did not recognize. It sounded French almost.
It may not be far off there.
Oh, here we go. He was born in a small farming community in Grenoble, France.
There you go. You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, I took French in high school, so there's that.
Well, his name is Andre Rene Roussimoff.
Ah, fair enough. There's photos of him on IMDb at WrestleMania 3, him facing off with
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. He like towers even over that dude.
And Hulk Hogan is huge.
Oh yeah, yeah he
Look
is.
at the picture of him and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Let me ask you this: so, what was the deal with Hulk Hogan? I know that he had a sex tape come out.
Yeah. He's got a fucking hog on him, by the way.
A hog? Oh,
Yeah.
big old wing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, I guess. You know.
I can't believe you didn't know what I meant.
I was like,
a
what?
hog?
A hog? Should probably put that down, man. But I guess there was some racist shit that came out with him in recent years, and he's been basically removed from like the WWE like website and all that shit, and I don't really know that much about it, man.
What?
Yeah, like they basically erased him from the existence of WWE like altogether out of their database.
That
All that
can't
shit.
be true.
I'm telling you, man. But I don't know. It's weird. Because I remember back in the day, they had those stupid, like, Hulk Hogan, like, plush toys, you know, like the big pillows and shit, you know, for kids. And
He was everything for that organization.
He was. He was a moneymaker, dude. I never really got into wrestling at that age, but even I know who that guy was, you know. So, I was always a fan of, you know what's weird is me and Roddy Piper have the same birthday. April 17th, man. He's an Aries.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Me and him and Jimi Hendrix are all Aries, so figure that out. Not that I care at all about astrology, but
Then why would you bring it up?
I don't know. Just because I like Jimi Hendrix, so, you know, whatever.
I like Jimi Hendrix too, but
Yeah. Basically, one thing that I think is a nice moment in this movie is after the grandpa wraps up this stupid story, which, by the way, you know, grandpa comes over, he's like, hey, I want to read you this book real quick. I was thinking something like maybe 10 pages or whatever. Grandma pulled out this big, fat fucking phone book of a story, you know? I've been like, that's okay, I'm good.
it looks like a textbook.
Yeah, like, don't worry about it. And then he knocks it out in no time flat, you know?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah, about an hour and a half. But basically, it's over. Grandpa's leaving. He's like, hey, if I'm still feeling sick tomorrow, if you want, you can come over and read it again. And the grandpa kind of gives him this look like, that's cool, you know.
He says, as you wish.
Oh, that's what it was. I didn't even catch that. He's telling his grandson he loves him. That's nice. Yep. Fair enough.
It was a touching little moment at the end there.
Yeah, it's a nice little deal. Because at the beginning of the movie, he thinks that Grandpa's this old fuddy-duddy, you know. He doesn't know anything about Nintendo or fucking Nickelodeon. So, all the stuff the cool kids are doing, like crack.
Crack is awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. Mm-hmm. I do think it is nice to see, because obviously this fellow, Fred Savage, he hasn't done a whole lot in the way of acting in recent years, but he does a lot of directing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It is kind of nice to see, you know, a kid that's like a young child star that's not like, you know, involved with doing lines of cocaine off of hookers' asses at the age of 11, you know?
And he was a mega star back in the day.
Oh, yeah. He was as big... He was huge until basically Macaulay Culkin like dethroned that ass, you know, in the early 90s.
Well, he just got old.
Yeah, he did, and he wasn't cute anymore. I want to say, if we're looking at child stars, I think it was him, and then Macaulay Culkin, and then way later, at least a good 3 or 4 years, maybe not way later, but 3 or 4 or 5 years later, we finally had Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense that kind of took that over a little bit. But he wasn't He didn't do all the lighthearted stuff though that the guys before had done.
Oh, what's his fucking name? Was in a ton of stuff when he was a little kid. Oh man, what's his name? He was with Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son.
Oh, Elijah Wood. Yeah.
Yeah, Elijah Wood was a big child actor.
Mm-hmm. There's another dude that never really went crazy either. You know.
Well, he kept working.
Right. And then I think that his was about to burn out, and then they did Lord of the Rings, and that fucking like cemented him. You know, like he was good after that. You know.
Never has to work again.
Mm-hmm. Which is really cool because nowadays he does a lot more like artsy fartsy, you know, kind of stuff, like projects that he's more interested in, as opposed to I have to do this to get paid, you know.
He was in that show with the dog that talked to him.
Was it Wilfred?
Yes.
Think? Yeah. I never watched that.
I watched the whole thing and it's twisted.
I think I saw like an episode and it was definitely amusing, but it's got some weird shit going on, man.
I mean, the long story short, Elijah Wood plays a character that has like some serious mental disorders.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. But he's pretty good.
Wilfred's the embodiment of them.
Yeah. Do you know his first movie?
Elijah Wood's first movie?
Yeah.
Without looking it up, I'm going to say no.
Okay. It's just a little bit part, man. It's actually a sequel to a movie we've talked about, believe it or not. But he was in Back to the Future Part 2.
I was going to say that when you said it's a sequel to something we talked about.
Right. No, he was one of the kids whenever they go to the 80s cafe or whatever and they're playing that Wild Gunman game on the arcade and he's like, you have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy. He was one of those kids. So, yeah. Little bit part and lived his years in 2015, never to be seen again. So, but, yeah. Overall, I would say that this is a pretty good movie, though. I liked it. You know, if you ever get a chance to sit down and watch it, or even if you haven't seen it in a while, because I know with me, I hadn't seen this movie in probably since my early 20s, you know? So it's been a while.
It's been a long time for me as well.
Mm-hmm. So as an adult, you know, going back and getting to rewatch this thing, it's actually kind of a novelty because there's a lot of stuff I didn't remember. And so there's some good stuff going on here. I liked it.
Well, and because it's a period piece, like when the story's taking place.
Yep.
Like it doesn't matter that it's an old movie.
It doesn't age at all.
Right.
I don't think. It's pretty timeless.
Besides your Star Wars cup.
Right? And that damn video game that he's playing, whatever the fuck that was. I wonder if, you know, they saw fucking him playing that video game and they're like, we should make that Wizard movie about Nintendo and fucking get him, you know.
Oh, dude, that movie changed my life.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever sat through it, if I'm being completely honest.
He had the glove.
Yeah, the power glove. You bet.
Oh, he didn't have the power glove. Some other kid had the power glove.
No, it was, oh, fuck. What's that dude's name? I know who you're talking about because this movie's infamous throughout, you know, film history as being horrible. But, God, I can't remember his name.
I begged for that fucking glove forever.
Oh, aren't you glad you didn't get it?
I did get it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What a waste of money.
Yeah, it was not that good.
No, fucking piece of shit. Oh, man, what's that kid's name? I'm looking it up right now.
They tried. You know, Nintendo was trying to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Well, they had gone through because there was this and let's see, Bateman, Christine Bateman, Tate, Haley, Jimmy Woods. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep looking this up. But yeah, it was funny because Nintendo was trying to dip their toe into the movie market back in the day, and then they did, you know, the freaking this movie to moderate success amongst, you know, people that like video games at the time. And then the Wizard? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they did, you know, the Super Mario Brothers movie, which we're going to talk about at some point, I'm sure. And it was it was a fucking mess, man. Lucas, that's the kid's name that had that stupid glove.
Lucas Barton.
Yeah. And at the time, he's like, I have all 89 games. Like so many more video games than that on the NES, you know.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
So bad. It's great. That's aged awful, but
Yeah, that did not age well at all.
no, this is the opposite end of the spectrum from the Princess Bride, you know. Christian Slater's in that.
He
So
is?
there's that. Yeah.
Is he like the older brother?
Yeah. Him and fucking Beau Bridges are running around acting stupid. So, whatever. Maybe we should talk about that at some point. We got this whole litany of just horrible movies to discuss. Could be entertaining.
Apparently that kid from the Power Glove is like a career criminal since then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So he lost that fucking Nintendo Championship thing.
He's
Just
a
fucking
New York
turned to
sex
crime.
offender.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting? Are you familiar at all with the show Seventh Heaven with Jessica Biel and all that shit?
I'm familiar, sure.
Did you ever watch any of it at all?
Maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Okay. Well, the dad on there that's like the Reverend or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Collins.
I know all about that.
Oh, yeah. His life went toes up fast, dude.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess there was a therapy session that he was having with his wife in which he admitted that he had had a sexual relationship with a minor on 3 different occasions, one of which was during his marriage with his wife. And I guess he landed his ass in fucking prison and she's divorced him and all that other shit, you know. So that shit went toes up bad.
Yeah, not good.
Then we got Jeffrey Jones, the guy that's the principal in fucking Ferris Bueller. And he was in that and Beetlejuice and Howard the Duck and all that shit. And he wound up being a child molester too, man. Fucking craziness. I don't know what the deal is, man.
What?
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a chomo too. You know what's weird is I actually will go through any chance that I get and watch that To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen.
Yeah, they're so good.
That's like one of my favorite reality shows of all time. And my wife, she's like, this is the same shit every fucking time. And I'm like, for whatever reason, I am just hypnotized by this fucking show, you know?
Oh, I know why.
Why?
It's the moment those dudes know they're fucked.
Oh, yeah. It's great, dude.
The look on their faces.
You know, their butthole has to be puckered up about as tight as it can be. They're like, oh, fuck, dude.
I really fucked up.
Right. My life will never be the same, you know?
So there's an organization on Facebook here in Oklahoma called OPP. And
Down with OPP?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you know me.
It's like Oklahoma Predator something. Oh, Predator Protection from Predators, something like that.
I thought it was
So
other people's pussy. But
No. So,
No.
anyways, fuck, you fucked me all up, Shane.
Oklahoma Predator Protection or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
Yes.
they're called. They have a Facebook page where they do the same thing, like Catch a Predator. They like get these guys to like agree to meet and shit.
Yeah.
And
Did they record it?
yeah, and it's on like Facebook Live and stuff.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, they can't do anything legally.
Right.
They just get to like confront these guys like face to face and call them out on whatever creepy shit they were up to.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, I happen to know.
You know him?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Because he was trying to join the army,
Oh, I got you.
and we disqualified him for, I can't remember, I think it was a medical issue he had or something.
I got you.
And then we hear about a Marine Corps recruiter who gets busted on this site
Oh, no.
in like Shawnee, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So we hear about this Marine Corps recruiter, so we all get on the site at the Facebook page that day at work in the office.
Right.
And one of the other recruiters in the office was like, holy shit, and he says the guy's name. I don't want to say his name.
Right.
But he says the guy's name, and we're like, what? So we get on there and we watch it, and it's crazy. And the kid admits to like being fucked up and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna sound weird because I don't justify obviously fucking predators at any rate.
Right.
But he's like 19, trying to talk to like a 15-year-old. It's gross. I get it.
Well,
It's disgusting, but it's way different than like a 30-something-year-old dude trying to talk to a 15-year-old.
right.
So the kid admits, like, yeah, I was talking to her. I shouldn't have did that, blah, blah, and he leaves.
Right.
And then like 3 weeks later, he's on there again.
Oh, no.
Yes.
That's bad.
So they call the cops. The people who have the Facebook page call the cops. And then the host of the Facebook page gets arrested for outstanding traffic warrants.
Oh, my gosh.
Kind of blew up in his face.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's pretty bad right there.
It's so crazy that this is real life.
Well, so you say 19 and 15. I mean, technically that is illegal. However, it is a situation where you hear about like guys that are like seniors in high school hanging out with freshmen, and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely, I think, worse cases that are out there, But,
Yeah, but even when I was a senior in high school, it was still gross if you were like trying to hook up with a freshman.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Like amongst our friends, be like, yeah, she's
Right.
cute, dude, but she's 14.
Why are you messing with her? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, I could see it both ways, yeah. Probably more so your way. But I wouldn't even venture to guess because Oklahoma, there's some classy dudes that run around here, but there are some gnarly, skanky looking dudes that run around here too. And I could only venture to guess what you could find on that Facebook page, So,
Oh, there's some creeps out there, that's for sure.
oh yeah.
It's so scary as a dad of a little girl
Oh God, yeah.
to know
Pretty
how many
bad.
fucking creepos are out there.
Well, the crazy thing is I'm one of those because my wife, she hears about, well, there's so much violence nowadays and all that. And the crazy part about it is actually violence has gone down, but it's just the amount of information that we have and our accessibility we have to find out about it is so much more available. Information so much more available than it used to be,
Well, and it's instantaneous.
Right. And that's the thing is you think about it, and even back like when this movie came out, there was still the same number of creeps that were out there. We just didn't hear about it as much.
It was just like myths, like urban legends.
Yeah.
Like, don't get in the van when they're offering you candy.
Right. That's probably still a good rule to follow. So.
Yeah, definitely follow that rule, folks.
Right. If you're listening to the show and you like candy, don't. Yeah, no.
Did you have a secret code word with your parents?
I think we did, but I couldn't tell you what it was now.
We did.
Elephant.
So, like, if someone would, like, the scenario was that, like, if someone tried to pick us up at school that wasn't my mom or dad, I was supposed to ask them for the, like, secret word.
Right.
Never happened.
No, never. I didn't know why you're going to pick me up anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You could just take one look at me as a kid. You're not picking me
Right.
up.
We'll try somebody else. It's cool.
I was short, chubby, pale, and redhead. Nobody wanted me.
Yeah, I wasn't redhead, but I was about the same as you. So yeah.
The short, pale, and chubby?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nobody wants the short, pale, chubby kid.
No, they're not trying to fuck my butt.
Ew.
But so yeah, overall, way off topic there. However, going back to Princess Bride, if you get a chance, watch it. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, I thought we were done talking about that.
Oh no, it's good, but yeah, I mean that's all I gotta say about it.
You want to hear about my night last night?
Please.
So it was a really interesting night. So it was a ball. For those listening that aren't familiar with military galas, different units get together and they have a party, basically like a formal party. You wear your dress uniform and you bring dates in their fancy ball gowns.
Get your lady all gussied up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my lady didn't want to go, so she didn't go. And another recruiter.
My wife always had to drag me to those. I never wanted to go, but she did.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Well, she didn't want to go. I had to go. So another recruiter and I decided to get a hotel room there because we knew we were going to do some drinking and stuff.
Right.
And so we're, when you have a hotel room and you're not driving anywhere, it's no holds barred.
Fucking game on. Yep.
Yeah, you go hard in the paint. And so we were doing that. And the ball was uneventful. It was a normal ball. But then I was outside with a guy who was shit faced, and he wanted to go smoke a cigarette. So I went out there with him so he wouldn't be alone because he was hammered. And while we're standing out there, these two ladies who were guests of the ball, you know, they were wearing their like fancy sequin ball gowns and stuff. Like they come back from what appears to be like a beer run.
Right.
And they're walking through the parking lot, and just as they get to the curb, one of them falls down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and, you know, like, so I like to consider myself like a gentleman. I really do. I try to be, you know, polite. And
Maybe you weren't always, but nowadays, yes.
No, I've always been like, I try to be nice.
Right.
Especially to women, you know, like I want to treat them like ladies. I don't want to be rude and shit. And so they fell down, and my initial reaction was like run over there like a knight in shining armor, you know.
Sure.
But a lot of people do take offense to shit like that nowadays.
Mm.
So I just like hollered over, like, "Do you ladies need some help?" And there was like a long pause, maybe 30 seconds or so. And finally, the friend of the girl who fell was like, "Yeah, I think we need some help."
Uh-oh.
So, you know, now I jog on over, and immediately I can see that this woman's ankle is in the wrong place.
Oh, no. That's not good at all, man.
No, it looked real bad. Like, the foot looked like it had come separated from the ankle.
Mm.
And you can see the bones weren't in the right places.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, the other guy who was, like, shit-faced, he went to, like, go to her leg. And I was like, "Do not touch her."
That's all right. I got it. No, you don't.
Don't touch her.
Right.
And the other girl was just standing there. I was like, "You need to call 911. Because she's obviously going to need some, like, this isn't something we can put a bag of ice on."
Pretty big deal, yeah.
Yeah. So you need to call 911. I'm going to go, "What's your husband's name?" So I can go get him. Because he wasn't out there with us. So I run inside. I try to tell the dude, I have to tell him like 3 different times what's going on because he's looking at me like, you know, he's kind of in shock.
Right.
Because he doesn't know me.
Of course.
And I'm telling him his wife is like broke her ankle in the parking lot. You know, he's just looking at me like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Right.
But I finally get him out there. As soon as he gets to her, he's like, "I'm here, babe." She's like, starts bawling to him and like apologizing for hurting herself. And he, you know, he was doing the right thing. He's like, "Baby, you don't need to apologize. It's an accident."
Right,
You know?
right.
She's like, "But I ruined the night." He's like, "It doesn't matter. You know,
Don't
we got to
give a
take
fuck.
care of you."
Yeah.
He was saying all the right things. She was obviously like she was in shock.
Of course.
And then I ran down to the entrance of the hotel, like parking lot, and like guided the ambulance in to where she was. And then I had this like old cougar chick. She's like well into her 50s. Was like following me around the ball.
She want to check out that fire bush.
She did.
Oh, man.
For the record, there's no fire bush. You keep saying that.
I'll see it when I believe it, or believe it when I see it.
We'll make that happen next time we see each other then.
Oh, Lordy.
But she was following me around, and then I don't know what time we ended up in another like group's hotel room.
Yep.
I have no idea what time it was, but there's this little man that lives in my body as I've gotten older, and he says to me like, "You need to find your bed now."
Right. Party's over, motherfucker. Yep.
Yeah. Like he doesn't give me a warning. You know, he doesn't say like, "Hey, in about an hour or so, we need to think about laying down."
You got 10 minutes, bitch. Nope.
Yeah, he doesn't do any of that. He just like shows up when it's time to go to your room and get in your fucking bed right now.
Yep.
So that guy showed up, and I don't know, fucking Frankenstein my ass back to the room.
It's great.
I went to sleep, and then this morning, my roommate is in there, and he's like rustling around.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he was like, "It's 10 after noon."
Oh, shit.
He's like, "We have to leave."
Yeah. Checkout was like 10 minutes
At
ago.
11. Yeah.
Oh, shit. An hour ago.
Yeah. He's like, "We have to leave." I'm like, "Holy shit, it's afternoon already?"
Yeah.
And he tells me
bad.
that he fell asleep in somebody's bathroom.
Oh, God.
He doesn't even know where he was.
That's funny.
He said he just woke up freezing cold and like
Oh, man.
worked his way back to the room where I guess I had left the front door open.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good work.
So it was a fun night.
Yeah. I remember the first one of those that I went to. We went to get food after the ball was over. Or our part of the ball was over at least. And so anyway, there was this, we went to go eat at like Denny's or whatever. And sure enough, we were there. There's this woman. She was a non-commissioned officer that was there with us. But me and her were on pretty good terms or whatever. And bless you.
Thank you.
And so anyway, I wound up like passing out face first into my omelet and biscuits and gravy with my dress uniform on. Yeah, because I was so fucking wasted, man, you know.
What a way to represent the Army there, Shane.
Oh, yeah. Of course, everybody knows what's going on, you know. But she's messing with me, and she's like, hey, you need to get up, you know. And I think you're done eating, you know, whatever, because I hadn't even touched my food except with my face, you know. And so anyway, she's like threatening me or whatever. She's like, hey, if you don't get the fuck up right now, I'm going to smoke your balls off here in the middle of this Denny's, you know. Like, she's like, I wasn't really going to mess with you. She's like, but you did need to get the fuck up, you know, sort of thing. So, yeah.
She's trying to motivate you.
Mm-hmm. But,
yeah. Military balls are a special kind of thing, man.
Right.
It's like a 100% excuse to just get shit-faced.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's what everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rare exception of a couple people who don't, but pretty much everybody does.
Yeah, usually drinking in any kind of uniform is kind of a no-go, but that's when you can cut loose.
Or with your chain of command.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's no other environment that you can get hammered with your lieutenant colonel.
No, not at all.
But the ball you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good times.
You can be best friends all night long.
Yep.
The last ball I went to in New York, Jared and Lee were there as well. We went to the artillery ball.
Yeah.
And I got in a fight with like some lieutenant. And that was over. Huh?
Like a physical altercation, or?
Yeah, like the only fist fight I've been in as an adult.
Oh man.
Yeah. He was like, so Fair, you gotta remember, Fair was like a year old at the time.
Yeah.
And we're in the bathroom pissing, and he's talking about like fucking with teenage girls.
Oh no.
And I just said to him, "That's not funny."
Right.
And he went to bow up to me, but his friends like stopped him.
Yeah.
And so I walked out of the bathroom, and I thought that was over.
Right.
And then this was at a castle.
In
New York. It was pretty cool.
Bolt Castle or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I went to my room. I put like civilian clothes on, like which everybody was doing. And we came back because some like rich dude had basically opened the bar for all of us.
Oh God.
So everybody was drinking heavily.
Of course.
And I came back, and me and Lee and Jared and Nicole all went to the hotel room. While Lee and I were changing clothes, Nicole and Jared decided they were tired and they wanted to go to bed.
Right. As they tend to do.
Yeah. So me and Lee decided like, oh, we're gonna tear the night up, which we used to do all the time.
Yeah.
And so me and her go back into the bar area, and that dude like says something to me, and my boys are sitting around me and shit. I just pointed at the guy. And I was like, "Hey, that's the guy who was talking about fucking little girls."
That's hilarious.
So he grabs me by my shirt collar and like slams me to the ground.
Oh no!
Like I didn't expect it, you know?
Right.
And so I jumped up, mounted him. I started hitting him, and then we got separated pretty quick after that.
Yeah.
And then we go about our night, and me and Lee are having a blast. And then this couple invites us back to their room.
Right.
And for, I don't know, some drinks or something. I don't remember what.
Oh, no. Is this guy back there?
No.
Okay.
I didn't see that guy again until we were back at the unit. And the sergeant major and colonel pulled us into the office, wanted to know what happened. And
right.
He took total onus of it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he was like, I made a mistake. My bad. He didn't want me to tell him why I was pissed off at him.
Right.
So he just owned everything.
I see.
But anyways, we were back at this couple's room, and I remember it being so strange because like they had this big jacuzzi tub, and the husband was like running the water on the jacuzzi tub.
Kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, and Lee and the wife went outside and were smoking, and
oh no,
the guy was like, "Come over here. Doesn't this water feel nice?"
Oh no.
Yeah, but I'm drunk, you know, so like. My filters aren't working correct, right?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I walked over. I was like, "That is nice." And Lee comes back into the the room with me and like whispers in their ear like, "Ooh, we need to go."
Are they swingers?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And apparently, while Lee and the wife were outside smoking, she tried to kiss Lee and propositioned her for me and Lee to join them for the night. Like her husband wanted to fuck Lee and she wanted to fuck me or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And she thought we were a couple.
I see.
And so,
interesting.
Yeah, Lee was like, "We need to go."
Jeez.
Yeah,
No,
so we left.
We never had anything like that happen at the ball, but
No, dude, I've wrestled with my commanders on the floor in the bathroom before.
lordy. Yeah, that's not the place to wrestle on the floor, I'll tell you.
No, it was his idea, not mine.
I see. Did between your ball havingness and all that, did you get a chance to watch anything this week or?
Oh, I like the way you bring it right back to the show. Good job, Shane.
I did.
I don't know if I watched anything this week. I was really busy. I worked late every night.
Yeah.
Oh, I did watch something.
Oh.
I watched a documentary called Tabloid,
Okay.
which unfortunately I think got pulled off of Netflix today.
I see.
But
Wonderful.
it's this classic story. I guess it was really popular back when it happened. But this woman fell in love with some guy in Utah. She converted to Mormonism. Then he went on his mission, and his mission was in England.
Okay.
And there's two versions of the story. You get to decide which one you believe happened and which one didn't happen.
Right.
I think it's somewhere in between. But basically, the story was that she took this dude back to her cottage. She found him in England, took him back to her cottage, tied him up to the bed, had sex with him for 3 days, and then untied him. And they went into this town of London, like proper.
Okay.
We're like eating lunch, and he saw on the front page of the paper that he was missing and was kidnapped or whatever. So he decided to go tell the Mormon church that he was okay. And because she's saying that he was all willing and everything.
Of course.
And his story was that he was kidnapped.
Uh-huh.
But I find that funny because if I was really scared, like, I'm not fucking.
Oh, yeah, no. No. I definitely have control over that, you know.
Yeah. She was really hot, though, back then.
Yeah.
So maybe even if I was tied up unwillingly, but if she was really hot and, like, giving me fellatio and shit,
Yeah.
she might be able to get me there.
It's not impossible.
No.
But, yeah. I mean, did he survive and he's
Yeah.
alive and shit?
Yeah, he's married with another family and shit.
Okay.
So, but anyways, so this story happens, and then they uncover the fact that she was like a call girl and like did like porn shoots. She didn't have sex on film, but she would like take naked pictures and stuff like for modeling and stuff.
I see.
And then years and years and years later, like she disappeared. Like she wanted to disappear.
Yeah.
Right. But then her dog died, and she found out that you could get it cloned in South Korea.
What?
So she paid like $150,000 to get her dog cloned, and it worked.
Yeah.
So now she has 5 clones of her dog.
Oh goodness.
But that made international news.
Yeah.
So there she is again on the front page and all the news channels, and like everybody started harassing her again.
I see.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty great. Totally unrelated story, I guess. That's funny.
What do you mean?
Well, the whole dog cloning versus the
yes.
Mormon raping and all that shit. Yeah.
Yes, the manacled Mormon.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think that's all I watched though.
Yeah. We've been going back to watching a bunch of Christmas stuff. So last night after the kids were asleep, I wound up watching Bad Santa, which is great.
You love that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you got to understand, Mike's a bit of a big old humbug when it comes to Christmas. He's not into it as much as I am. I am a Christmas junkie, and Mike, I don't think understands any part of that.
I don't get it.
No, but we also went through and watched the Polar Express, and because I thought Madeline might get into it, and she liked it well enough. However, I noticed in that movie that because it's all, I believe,
CGI.
Yeah, it's all CGI. They did the whole motion capture thing with it or whatever. And they're trying to go for a realistic look, and man, those are some dead-eyed looking characters in that. It's almost like a talking mannequin, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre.
Really strange to look at, you know?
And watching animated Tom Hanks is weird.
It is. His voice coming out of an inanimate object, especially whenever its eyes just look fucking like there's no soul behind it, you know?
Yeah.
I watched that new Predator movie.
There's a new one?
Yeah, it came out over the summer. Man,
yeah.
what a piece of shit that thing was.
Really?
It was horrible. Really bad.
Did you watch it like at Redbox or something? Or
I watched it through means that are not necessarily legal, we'll say.
Fire
So
Stick?
That's yeah, exactly. But
Sponsored by Amazon.
Right. Hey, Jeff Bezos, you never called us.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Right. I'm sure you have my phone number at this point. So
We're still waiting.
right. But yeah, so I watched that, hated it. We watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which I guess has fallen under fire recently. People are saying it's sexist and racist and every other horrible thing you can imagine.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is with that movie, there's, I guess the moral of the story is you can treat somebody like shit until you need something from them. And then like... Because all through that movie, everybody's talking trash on Rudolph, poor Rudolph. And then freaking at the end of the movie, they're like, hey, we need your help. Come here, you know?
Yeah. Won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
Right. So, but I think that's just about it, honestly. So, I don't know.
Nice.
Do you know what we're watching next week, Mike?
Not a clue.
Well,
am I going to be bummed out?
Oh, you're going to be really bummed out, brother.
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to be kind of bummed out, too, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Next week, we are watching our third entry into the Star Trek movie franchise with Star Trek Insurrection.
What?
So, yeah. And this
What?
movie is garbage, man.
What?
I do. You know how you hated all
What?
the Star Trek movies we've watched up to this point?
What?
This is one that I hate. So maybe you'll like it. I don't know, but I think it is
What?
crap. So,
No.
Yep.
No.
So we've got that to look forward to.
I'm not doing it. If anyone's out there listening and you would like to co-host an episode of Casino Royale with Cheese with Shane Burns, please contact us at cheesymovie.com or yahoo.com or what? Is it Gmail or Yahoo?
It's yahoo.com.
Yeah, cheesymovie at yahoo.com.
Right.
You can reach us on Facebook
Yeah.
at Casino Royale with Cheese. You
All
can
separate
reach
words.
us-
Yeah.
All separate words. You can reach us on Instagram. Hit up Shane because he's really going to need a co-host. It's going to be really hard for him to carry that show next week by himself.
Not by myself. Mike will be there.
I'm not going to do it.
Oh, I can't wait for you to watch this fucking movie and see what you think, man.
You've made me hate Star Trek.
It's so funny because there's good Trek out there, but
I was not a Star Trek hater before this show started.
yeah, that's fair
I am
enough.
now an official Star Trek hater.
A hater. I remember when we first watched Star Trek 5 and you're like, Star Trek's alright, you know, it's fine, whatever. And now you're like, nope, I'm out.
I'm out.
That's hilarious. But you can also check us out on YouTube and iTunes, Casino Royale Cheese, all one word. Yep. And our Twitter doesn't have anything going on, but it's Casino Royale WCH, all one word. If you
Be
care.
the first to post.
Hey, yeah. If somebody shows interest, we might start doing stuff. But
Yeah.
yep. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for me, man.
That's all I got, dude.
All right, everybody. Well, make sure you join us next week as we venture into the final frontier with Star Trek Insurrection.
Boo.
And, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
I'll be back.